BTFU.
G'day guys, welcome to the BTFU Tennis Podcast. I'm your host Pat. Got my mate Vince here. Vince, how are you, mate?
Good, Paddy. How are you, man? Excited?
Yeah, I'm excited, mate. French Open's been rowing up. I'm really keen to get into it with you.
Yeah.
How much of it have you been watching, Vince?
Look, not all of it, okay? I've been catching little bits here and there and stuff. Obviously, Grand Slam season, I think, is the time when, eyes go on the tennis. Different parts of around the world and everything like that. And at the moment, everyone's over at Roland Garros watching the clay courts.
Yeah, well, I think you got to remember the matches normally start about 6, 7 p.m. for us here.
For us, yeah.
Under. So to stay up and watch any more than one match is a pretty tough ask.
Yeah, but me down at the courts all the time. I got all the kids I'm working with. They're all watching it and telling me all the results and everything like that. So definitely keeps me perked up to sort of follow what's going on. They're always questioning me all the time and stuff as well. So definitely there's a fan favorite player at the moment though.
Yeah, who's that?
It's Carlos Alcaraz.
Alcaraz, yeah. I mean, he's the man to talk about at the moment.
Just a quick one. I actually saw Jimmy Butler, the NBA basketball player who's playing the finals right now, actually put him up on his story and was watching him while I was getting like a massage and stuff.
Watching Alcaraz?
Yeah, and tagged Alcaraz in the post and was like, I was like, he watches tennis.
Yeah, right. There you go. Well, look, he has taken the tennis world by storm, and look, he's probably the first match we'll get into.
Yeah.
So he's coming up. He's going to be playing another young guy, a 21-year-old by the name of Lorenzo Musetti.
So just quickly, how's his form been so far, like leading up to the tournament and stuff like that? Obviously, he didn't play the Aussie Open at the start of the year. He was injured, right?
I think he was injured or he had COVID or something. I can't remember exactly, but
he was definitely didn't play that tournament, and that sort of rattled a kind of beelined, I think, Novak to sort of run through that tournament. I think he would have been his biggest competitor.
I think even if he did play, look, I still think Novak was going to shut down the show then. Maybe.
Yeah, 100%. No, he was all over that. That's his tournament, sort of. But how's the clay court season been going for him and stuff?
Look, Alcaraz has been awesome. I think he's already won one of the Masters 1000. I think it was Monte Carlo or I can't remember exactly. Maybe I think Madrid actually. I think he might have won Madrid.
And Medvedev's the other guy who's been on a massive run as well, leading up to it, right?
Yeah, but funny because he got knocked out first round.
Yeah. I know. I saw that. I was actually surprised the kids came up and told me that, and I was like, really? Yes. But is clay court really? Has he ever really done well on clay?
No, not really. Like
Daniil, the Russian.
If you watch all these clips of Medvedev when he plays on clay, there's clips of him going, I hate this surface. Surface.
Actually?
Get me off here.
He's a big, tall, baseliner. I thought it'd actually sort of suit his game.
Well,
he likes faster courts, right?
You watch the way he hits the ball. He hits it pretty through the court. He's not really a bit of an unconventional technique sort of thing where he doesn't get as much spin on the ball, doesn't get it up on the court too much.
Yeah.
There's clips of him just, absolutely hating clay.
Yeah.
And I think he actually came out and said he was kind of having a bit of a love affair with it because he won in Rome.
Oh,
he won
really?
the Masters 1000 in Rome only a couple of weeks ago. Beat Stefanos, who's doing the dance on him because, Stefanos was doing the dance on him.
I don't like that guy. Sweet. He's an odd character. He's a bit of an oddball, isn't he?
The tennis players are odd characters, don't worry.
Oh, yeah, true. Fly around the world by yourself.
So that's happened. Anyway, Medvedev's out now, so it's kind of opened up the bottom half of the draw a bit.
Yeah. Because he definitely would have been a shit hot favourite to run through to the final, right?
Well, I don't think to run through the final because...
But definitely,
even though he did win in Rome last week, he hasn't really been shit hot on clay. So... I think he was kind of telling himself a lie that he was starting to feel good on it.
Oh, really? Just because he had a few good results,
came out, played, some Brazilian clay dog, I think, came through the qualies.
All I heard was he lost to a Brazilian. He actually was a qualifier.
Yeah, I think pretty sure,
cool,
yeah. So
is this guy, how did he end up? Did he play his big match and he lost the next round?
No, he won the next round and then tough match, and then he lost yesterday to, I've got it here, to Yoshihito Nishioka. The Japanese little lefty guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was a bit of a weird one. So that part of the draw was very open.
Okay.
But look, coming back to Alcaraz, he's been in fine form.
So he's obviously number one seed, yeah?
Yeah, he's
number one seed, top of the draw,
number one in the world.
betting favourite?
Yep, betting favourite. I think he's $2.50. I think Djokovic is $2.70.
Okay.
And I think he's 33-3 this year in terms of his match wins.
Yeah.
But look, he does have a tough match coming up. He's going to be playing, as I said earlier, the young guy Lorenzo Musetti. He's 21. Actually, Alcaraz is younger.
But Alcaraz, how old is he?
Alcaraz is 20.
20, so can't drink in America yet.
No, he can't drink in America. Yeah. But here he'd be fine. He could definitely have a beer at the pub here. So we've got that match coming up tonight, our time.
Yeah.
Probably soon after you view this podcast. But Musetti basically played him
Yeah,
last
tell me
year.
about him. I've heard his name before. Haven't watched him play yet.
I'll be honest, I haven't really watched too much of him
Yeah.
either. I've only really sort of been
What's his
watching-
rank around?
He's 17 in the world, I think, or 18
Okay,
in
yeah.
the world.
Fuck, top 20. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
But obviously he's kind of, because he's Italian, he's kind of been outshined by the other Italian, that Yannick Sinner.
Okay, yeah. Just
Um,
on his rise and stuff
Yeah,
like this.
exactly
'Cause
right.
Sinner's
So
been-
that's
yeah.
why everyone's sort of been focusing on Sinner, and
Yeah.
so they should be. He's a great player, but look,
Yeah.
Sinner's out of the tournament now. He got knocked out second round.
Yeah,
But so this Mercedes sort of flying the flag now for Italy.
yeah.
He's coming up against Alcaraz. He actually beat Alcaraz in their last meeting
Yeah.
on clay.
Okay.
This was last year. It was a 3-set match.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So look, he is capable of doing it. I
Yeah.
think the odds he's about 550 at the moment. So to do, which I actually think, if you're a betting man, it's massive overs. Well,
Okay.
not massive overs, but
There's a value there. There's a bit of value.
Exactly
yeah?
right.
Yeah.
So obviously after Mercedes beat him last year, Alcaraz went on to win the US Open. He's gone on an absolute tear.
Yeah.
He's been probably a different player to what he is now. But when you go in as that kind of guy where you're playing someone, you've played them before,
yeah.
and they've beaten you before, that's obviously going to play on your mind.
100%. This is a big thing for tennis players, right? Obviously, individual sport, not a team environment. It's very like one-on-one, confrontational. And yeah, like players are very well aware of who they've beaten, who's beaten them, when and where, and all that sort of stuff. So again, taking this into like a pretty big match where Carlos's favorite would be a thing he's thinking about, right?
No, exactly
Yeah.
right. But look, they're both in fine form just in the tournament. Look, this Mercedes, he hasn't lost a set yet,
Yeah.
and he chopped Cameron Norrie, 14
Yeah.
in the world. Chopped him, I think, 1, 2, and 4.
I don't rate that guy. He's got a weird serve.
Well, that
right?
guy, I mean, that guy's won Masters 1000. So
Yeah, true,
you
true,
know,
true, yeah.
But it was pretty interesting. So they both played a lefty. Alcaraz played Shapovalov.
Yeah.
Chopped him as well. I think it was 1, 4, and 2.
Yeah.
So essentially the same scoreline.
Yeah, it's big.
And but you know, Alcaraz is getting that status where everyone's starting to come on the court and they know they're playing probably
Really?
almost the best
Even
player
at
in
this
the world.
age, one slam under his belt?
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. So when he was playing Shapovalov,
Yeah.
he's up 5. Alcaraz is up 5 love.
So this was his last round?
Yep, just
The
last round.
yeah.
Literally happened
Yeah.
a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
He's up. He's got break points in the first set to go up. You know, to win the set 6 love.
Yeah.
Shapovalov comes back, wins that game, 5-1. Shapovalov starts celebrating. He's like
Really?
like in that way of like, oh yes, I got a game. Yes.
Wow. The crowd like giving the jovial clap and all
Yeah,
that sort of
kind
stuff,
of,
trying to rile him up because he's a massive underdog, right?
Yeah, exactly right. So and
Yeah, that's
and
weird.
the amount of time I've only ever seen that with when players would get a game off like Nadal, the
Yeah,
French,
or Federer,
like Federer
when
or
it's like
Djokovic
they're
when
getting
when
second set when it's like 6-1, 4 love, and they're like, yeah, that's weird that they're giving it to him. Also, he's older, right?
Yeah, exactly
It's
right. I mean,
weird that you would
Shapovalov's
give that to
few
like a
years
younger
older.
player that's like he's proven, but he's not like that crazy.
I mean, yeah,
proven.
Shapovalov's a Grand Slam semi-finalist. He's
Yeah.
gone pretty deep in slams a lot of the time.
And also probably walking into a match like that, obviously he's underdog, but he should think he'd be like, have a shot maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but imagine, you're putting that, a 20-year-old kid at that status for like, oh yes, I got a game. And
True.
And as obviously after that, he got pretty much
Yeah.
chopped.
And even the crowd's jeering on to as well to give this respect to Alcaraz. So
yeah, exactly right. So
Yeah.
look, so Alcaraz Mercedes, it's going to be a good match. I think if you were a betting man, I'd probably look at going the overs in games. I think I last checked, they're about 34.5 games overs because I think.
So do you reckon just pushing it to a long match,
I
right?
think,
Not being
I
short.
think Mercedes at least going to get a set.
A set, yeah. Well, especially if walking back to the same court and venue that he's beaten him in before, he'd have to be
So he
confident.
didn't beat him at the French, but he beat him on clay.
Oh, okay. On clay, yeah.
In a different tournament. But yeah, still, look, it is a bit different, the clay at Roland Garros. But
Yeah.
look, Mercedes got the belief. He hasn't lost a set yet.
Italian as well, man.
Alcaraz
Sometimes they're
yeah.
confident guys, man.
Yeah,
Fognini.
exactly right. Yeah, Fognini, yeah. There's another guy.
Old character, man.
But yeah, so that's a good one. Make sure you get into that one tonight. Another one coming up, we've got obviously Djokovic, arguably the greatest player of all time. He's going to be playing Juan Pablo Varillas.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty sure that's how you say it. Honestly, I've never heard of this guy before,
Yeah.
but he has absolutely battled through the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
He's won every match in 5 sets.
What's Novak there? He's paying $1.10?
I think Novak's $1.02.
Like, oh, wow.
Yep. So
Okay.
you could get that extra cent on Novak.
Yeah, yeah.
Normally don't see that as odds, and that's probably for good reason.
Sure.
Betting companies aren't that certain because Novak hasn't actually won any of the lead-up clay events.
Okay, yeah.
And with Nadal out, normally you'd expect Novak.
So just
to be-
quickly circle back. How many Frenches has Novak won?
he's won 2 now.
2 French Opens.
Yeah.
That's still a pretty good effort. And they would be the two, obviously, the years Nadal didn't win. And there's one that also snuck in there with the year that Federer won, right?
Yeah, and
Like
then,
going
and then the
back?
Wawrinka one. Well, Wawrinka
And the
beat him as well.
Wawrinka. Okay,
Wawrinka
so
beat
there's four, yeah.
that one time.
So over the past X amount of years, we have Nadal at 13 Frenches, Novak
14, I think Nadal's 14.
at 14,
Yeah.
Novak at 2, Wawrinka at 1, Federer at 1.
Yep, and
Yeah.
then I think that's it since
Yeah.
2005. Yeah, that
Yeah,
covers all
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
So I mean, look, I think it is more likely than not that you will see a new champion. This year. I mean,
Yeah, you'd be
Novak
thinking,
being,
what do you think the vibe of the tournament's been with Nadal, like, even leading up? Like, obviously, he played at the Aussie and he pulled out early, and he hasn't really been back on the tennis court since then.
yeah, I mean,
What do you think about like the energy of the tournament over there without him and stuff like that? Because the feedback I've been getting is people are thinking it's a positive thing.
I don't know about that's arguable.
Just because of the newness of it, right?
I think what people
what was the score last year in the final?
I think it was straight sets. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just absolutely chopped Casper Ruud, right?
Yeah, so I think what people are excited about are all these young guys coming through, and just breathing in some new life. But look, people are still holding on to the legends. Like,
Yeah.
like,
True,
if
true.
Federer and Nadal were still playing, they'd still be the ones who are getting the most people coming and watching.
Definitely, yeah.
However, I think the thing is, Novak's never really ever been as liked as what Federer and Nadal were. So,
No, I don't believe that.
but yes, I mean, I don't. You don't need a massive brain to make up that assumption.
He's always been the villain out of those three, I think.
Yeah, and I think because of that, he's kind of really stepping into this villain role.
Yeah.
So in his previous match, he played this Davidovich Fokina, who's I think actually either beat him or got a set off him maybe a few weeks ago. He's playing really well. The match went for 3.5 hours. It was a straight
really?
set match.
Yeah.
This Davidovich Fokina served for the first set. He had break points to win the second set.
Yeah.
And essentially, the interesting thing for me was after Novak won the second set, he was celebrating, going nuts.
Really?
Like just yeah, like just absolutely.
So being like obnoxiously celebrating, is that what you're trying to say?
Looked like angry. Like he was
Oh,
angry at
okay.
the crowd because the crowd are like
Heavily on the underdog
they are
side.
always against
Yeah.
Novak.
It's always a funny thing, I think, that dynamic, because when Federer and Nadal over the years have been heavy favourites, the crowd sort of cheers them. But naturally, like, a crowd likes to go for an underdog. But with Novak, he hasn't got garnered that same respect and that amongst the public opinion, right?
No, exactly right.
Yeah.
And I mean, with all the controversy that's happened over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it probably hasn't helped his case a little bit.
But no, look, I'm enjoying him playing the villain.
Yeah. I like Novak, but I'm also
Yeah.
a guy who's also tended to go for those sort of characters that don't really, walk the straight line.
No, I definitely think he's making things interesting by playing to the villain. Anyway, so
Yeah.
we've got Novak. I think he's
So they're both at the top of the draw, though.
yeah. So they're going to play.
So they're not
going to
match up in the final,
in
no.
the semi if everything goes well, because Alcaraz is 1, Novak's 3. I'm pretty confident to say that they'll meet in the semis.
Yeah.
Even though Novak isn't playing his best, when that guy wants to lock it down, he can still, on a clay court, he can still just go out there and refuse not to miss balls over 5 sets as well. I know he
Yeah.
hasn't been doing as well in the previous tournaments. You've got to remember that they're 3-set matches.
Yeah.
All right. The champions come out in these 5-set matches.
Yeah, true.
The amount of times I've seen someone go down 2 sets to 1
I
and
know.
come back, or 2 sets to love and come back.
Yeah.
Which is normally that match is over in a 3-set tournament.
100%, yeah.
Djokovic has proven that many times how good he is in over 5 sets.
100%. Yeah, he doesn't get rattled. And obviously the variance with like the longer sample and all that sort of stuff of playing time, the better player has time to sort of rise to the top, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
And he's
Exactly
that
right.
experience, like you said, and to keep that focus over 3 sets to win 3, it's a different ball game than winning, you can win a 2-set match in an hour, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, he won a 3-set match in 3.5 hours. So
Yeah,
look
true.
at how long that went.
So who we got to the bottom draw, yeah?
Yeah. So the bottom half is where it's quite open.
Yeah.
So you've got the two probably big names at the moment, Holger Rune,
Yeah.
another young guy coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, not coming through. He has come through.
Yeah.
He's established himself. He's I think
We're watching that kid on Instagram on functional tennis when he was 13, wasn't he?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, back when you were coaching me.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, we used to look at that guy and he was always just so intense.
Yeah,
I
so
remember.
intense, yeah.
Like-
We were literally looking at videos of that kid when he was 12 years old.
Back in 2015, literally, yeah. And looking
I
at
think because it went viral with a few of his videos and all that, and everyone was like, this player. But it's just funny because you see all those guys, they never end up actually being pros, and he actually is a full legitimate pro.
Going to the Morotoglu Academy, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just he was hitting every ball at 110%.
Yeah, that was always his thing, and he's obviously just that's the player he is now.
Like the robotic sort of technique and just very
super athletic and all that. Yeah,
well-crafted guy. So look, he's down there. You've got Casper Ruud down there as well. They're not playing each other just yet. They're the 4th and the 6th seeds. So look, I think they're actually potentially going to meet next round.
Yeah,
if everything goes to plan. But look, with Rune, he's actually playing a guy, Francisco Cerundolo.
Country?
Don't know if I've said that right, from Argentina. So
okay, Argentinian.
Massive clay dog, this guy is.
Would have loved the World Cup.
Yeah, so interesting with this one. Look, 4 years ago.
Yeah. Soccer World Cup, man. What are you talking about?
Look, I'm sure you would have loved the World Cup.
Messi was probably out in the streets of Buenos Aires, man, with his shirt off.
I don't know. He's probably training. Tennis players are always training.
True.
Cerundolo actually beat Rune in their last meeting, but this was 4 years ago in 2019. I think Holger might still have been riding his training wheels pretty much.
Yeah.
But look, that's still something that's always going to play in the back of your mind. Look, Cerundolo's no shit kicker.
Yeah,
he's 23. He's 23.
But obviously, the players that have advanced through this, they're obviously feeling good about himself.
You get into the 4th round on clay, you know how to play tennis. Because on clay, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know. It's the toughest type of tennis, 100%. Just quickly, when people say that, like, I know why it is. What's your explanation as to why the French is so tough and all that sort of stuff? It's more comes down to the courts, obviously, right?
Yeah, well, you got to look at comparatively compared to other surfaces. So, for example, on a grass court, if you're a big serving, big hitting guy, if you can just hold serve the whole time, you can sometimes jag your way through a match and just
But why? It's to the speed of the court, right? It gives you advantages
so the
in that.
Obviously, way faster.
Yeah.
Your big server, it's just going to get past the other person faster. If you watch clay. These guys stand so far back behind the baseline. And if they get that first serve back in play pretty deep, I mean, it's the same on most courts, but clay, it's exponentially.
Yeah, and so the reasoning of that, because people come up to me and ask this all the time, they're like, why is it so much slower? So it is the surface, but the surface is that the ball hits the court. It's clay, right? So it's a moving surface.
Exactly right.
It's gaining so much more traction off the surface. It slows the ball down, right? So on a harder, more finely cut sort of surface and stuff like that, it doesn't take as much speed away from the ball. So though in turn, when the ball catches a thicker court, it's slower it's going to be slower. It's harder to hit past the players. So then if you're not going to hit past me, the rally's going to go for longer. So then it just extends the tennis out, right? This is how I try to explain it anyway.
Well, you think about if you go down to a beach, have you ever thrown a ball into sand?
Yeah, exactly right. Stops.
Just stops, okay? Now, obviously, it's not like that. It's a hard surface under the
clay.
Of course. There's clay.
But it's a moving surface,
sitting on top, and it's going to slow it down. So, so that's why all these, sort of smaller guys do a lot better on clay and stuff.
Because they don't have that big. It's more movement. It's more like a longer, more brutal, like longer endurance sort of style of tennis.
It's why Nadal's been so good. I mean, look at Nadal's serve. He's never been a guy. You ever been scared on Nadal's serve?
Serve, not really.
And he just fizzes the ball up and slows it down. Uses his movement.
He's big, heavy, rallying balls, and because he's so like mentally tough, he's prepared to stay out there for a long time. He can just beat their opponents down. You can't hit him off a court like you can maybe on other courts, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And look, these young European guys, a lot of the time, and South Americans as well, they're all generally quite good on clay.
Yeah.
They've all grown up on it.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, I'd say they were born on clay pretty much.
Yeah.
Probably conceived on the clay. And
that's for after hours.
Anyway, so look back to Rune. Yeah, so look, I think this is going to be. I think Rune should be pretty comfortable. I dare say, look, I can see Cerundolo getting a set.
Yeah.
So look, if you were looking to get on that, I'd say maybe looking at Holger Rune probably 3-1. I'd say look, you're getting a little bit risky there in terms of the odds with that and stuff. But look, I think that would be my pick.
Yeah.
Moving on. Look, last match I sort of really want to touch on is Nicolas Jarry and Casper Ruud.
Okay.
So this is an interesting one. So Jarry's basically come through the previous week. He won a lead-up tournament in Geneva, actually beating Ruud on the way to winning that title.
Okay.
And Jarry's obviously won the last 3 matches. He's now on a 9-match winning streak.
Ruud's what ranking and seed is he for this?
He is He's not even seeded. So
No. Rude.
Rude's four. Rude's
4.
fourth seed,
Okay.
so,
Yep.
Yeah. So
And finalists last year, yeah?
finalist last
Yeah.
year. Finalist of the US Open last year as well.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But look, Rude's sort of an interesting guy. Start of the year, he was going around saying, he didn't do a preseason before the Aussie Open.
Yeah.
Because I think he loves clay.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear he loves clay. And I think he went out and lost either first round or second round of the Aussie Open.
Wasn't
Just
too
didn't care.
interested.
He was the second seed.
Oh, wow.
And off the back of a Grand Slam final at the US
At
Open.
the US Open, yeah.
And just went, nah,
Yeah.
fuck that. I'm not doing a preseason.
Yeah,
I'll wait
that's
till the
strange,
clay.
yeah. He touched number 1 for a little bit, right?
No, I don't think he's touched number 1.
Oh, okay.
He's two.
Two.
He's
Okay.
been two.
Yeah.
He's obviously been close because he's been up and around there
Of
the whole
course,
time.
yeah.
But yeah, look, this is a pretty close sort of betting match. I think Gary's sitting about the $2.50 mark. Rude's about the $1.50 mark.
Okay.
Look, I still think Rude, after losing to him last week, I actually think he's going to come and be like, look, I shouldn't have lost to that guy. Finalist last year. I think he's going to be like, I'm not losing to this guy again.
Yeah.
I'm better than this guy. And I've watched his match last night. He looks pretty primed to strike. And I watched some highlights of their match in Geneva. Look, it was extremely close. I think Jerry only beat him in the second and third set, 7-6, 7-5.
Okay, yeah.
So extremely close. Gary does have a massive serve, massive forehand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't normally think that this guy would be a clay quarter.
Yeah.
But look, he's Chilean. So
Okay,
he's
then.
obviously grown up on it.
Fernando Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, he obviously does
He's
know
one
how
of
to
my
play on clay,
favourite
but he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure it plays well on other surfaces, but I think clay is his surface, as he's shown.
Mm-hmm.
He also won another 250, I think, as well, either last year or early in the year. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But
Yeah.
He is playing really well. So look, that's going to be a close one.
Yeah.
But look, I think actually probably it will go to 5 sets.
Okay, really?
Yeah, I think it's got the potential to go to 5
Okay.
sets. But I think
So a long one.
Rude's going to come on top.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think the longer match, Rude's a bit of a smaller guy compared to Jari.
Yeah.
I think
Can handle it.
yeah,
And he's been there before, right?
Yeah, and two slam finals now.
Yeah.
Look, he knows how to win over 5
So
sets.
then if you look at the top and the bottom half of the draw, if we're like looking to see how it's going to progress through, we're thinking at the top could be Novak and Carlos, and down the bottom could be Holger and Casper, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're like? That's where it's kind of landed, yeah?
And then look, there's also Zverev waiting in the wings down the bottom as well,
Okay.
who look hasn't been at his best.
Yeah.
But obviously he's won 3 matches now at the French.
Check out Zverev's girlfriend on IG as well. I think she's got 500k followers and is a personality around Germany.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of these tennis players have some smoking hot girlfriends.
It's just a tip, okay?
Yeah,
Alexander Zverev, however you spell that.
Always look to the players box whenever these guys are playing.
Yeah, true.
Just so you know.
Especially the Europeans.
Yeah.
They know how to get it done.
I think Fritz is another one. Yeah.
Taylor Fritz, yeah.
Anyway, so
Vlogs around with his girlfriend all around the year.
Anyway, yeah. So hot girlfriends aside, looks very.
So he's one that could actually cause one of these 4 players,
he's
right?
He's made slam finals before
Yeah.
as well. But look, he's had that rough injury. He's only sort of been coming back. He actually he lost in Geneva to Jarry last week as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Jarry was a bit of a giant slayer last week.
Yeah.
But look, Zverev's just beat TFO.
Yeah.
So TFO's 12 in the world. Beat him in 4 sets. I actually thought TFO was going to tip him.
Yeah.
It was close. It was
I like him. He's
two
good.
of the sets were 7-6.
Yeah.
That Zverev won. So they could have gone either way. And watching TFO earlier on in the round.
I got right behind him in the US last year.
Yeah,
when
that
he
was
made the run
awesome,
of the
yeah.
semi. When he had that epic match against Alcaraz and all that sort of
Alcaraz,
stuff.
yeah, and you're just like you could sort of see that the level was
Oh, mate.
like
yeah.
you could tell Alcaraz is better than the guy, but he just had the crowd behind him and he just had the will.
It was actually awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So then if you just say, for example, we were predicting maybe those 4, how do you see it playing out in the semis? How would you see that?
Well, look, I mean, if you were going to take the likely thing to happen, look, I think you'd be pretty safe to say, well, not safe, but I think I'm pretty confident that you'll see Rude playing. He's playing Rune actually next round. So
Yeah.
they're going to play each other. And then at the bottom, you've got, so Grigor is playing Zverev.
Okay. Yep.
And you got
Okay, so they'll match up in the quarters. Okay, yeah.
Echeverry is an Argentinian. He's going to be playing Yoshihito.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I think from that, I'd probably say, look, Zverev's got the head-to-head 3-1
Yeah.
against Dimitrov.
Yeah.
Dimitrov,
Perennial fourth rounder, that guy.
yeah. I think slam finalist once back in day, but on grass. But look,
Was he?
Yeah.
What tournament?
I think,
Well, it has to be
or
Wimbledon.
maybe semi-finalist. Maybe either
I think
semi-finalist or finalist.
semi, yeah.
But look, he's always been up and around there. But look,
Yeah.
I think Zverev will tip him. I think if I was going to bet on it, I'd probably have Zverev in the semis, playing either Ruud or Rune. I'd probably tip. I think I'm going to go with Rune. He's made two finals of the Masters over the last
Yeah.
few weeks.
Yeah.
So they're the drop down from the Grand Slams.
Drop down, yeah.
So they'd have those two, and then look, there's Kachanov and Sonego as well. I think either way, the winner of that's probably going to play Novak. I'm almost certain Novak's going to win. So
Yeah.
I'd say Novak's making the semis. I'd say Alcaraz will play Tsitsipas as well next round, as long as he gets through. Unless Mercedes upsets him, which look I think can happen.
Yeah.
But look, if I was going to be a sensible guy, I'd probably say it's going to be Alcaraz playing Novak in the semis, and then Rune playing Zverev in the other semi.
Okay,
And
yeah.
from that, I'd probably say Rune's getting through. I really think Rune's going to make his first slam
First
final
slam
here.
final, yeah.
And look, I don't ever really want to say Novak's not going to win.
Yeah.
And I actually think that when Novak gets to that match, look, I personally think he'll win.
Yeah.
But I think what would be better for tennis,
Yeah.
I think, is if Alcaraz wins.
Alcaraz. And the two
And
young
then
guys
we've
play
got,
each
you
other
know,
in the final.
20-year-olds or 21-year-olds playing
Yeah.
each other
Yeah.
in the final of a slam.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
And I actually would like to say that Rune's going to win the final.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rune's going to win the final.
Yeah,
he's
he
beaten
has it in him, I think.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
He's beaten Djokovic in the previous weeks.
Yeah.
I think Alcaraz might have tipped him in one of these recently. I'd have to go back and have a look. But
Yeah.
there's so many matches to cover. Like this. It's not just like you're covering, one NBA team or something like that.
100%. Tennis 128, both sides of the draw,
Exactly right.
and it
There's a
gets
lot to
shorter and
cover.
shorter.
I'm only a man.
Yeah.
But look, we'll wrap it up there. So
You don't even care. Where's my opinion? All I'm saying is, Idem or Novak.
so you think Novak's going to get there?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Let it. Yeah, I want it to ride out. Hopefully, he's going to think that he doesn't have that many years left. Nadal's not there. These young guys are getting better. If he's playing the villain role, it's just maybe he's built for this. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
He's got the record on the line, right? They both got 22. Nadal and Novak both have 22. This will push him to 23, and
But that's exactly why I think
he might
yeah.
fumble the ball a little bit.
I don't know.
know.
There's that element
Yeah.
to it as well. It's
Obviously, he's got to have a better chance
it's a
in
flip of the
a
coin,
month's time over at Wimbledon, right?
I mean,
But-
look, what I will say just before we wrap up.
Yeah.
If you look at the last time Novak had that chance to really break a record, which was getting the calendar Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So he won
yeah,
Aussie,
that's right,
French,
yeah.
Wimbledon. He's playing Medvedev in the final.
And
who he beat. I think pretty sure he beat him earlier in the.
I 100% remember this because I really tuned in for this match because it was like going to be epic.
He got fucking demoralized.
Yeah,
by
yeah, I
Medvedev.
know.
It was like 3-4 and 3.
Yeah. No, I remember the whole weight of the tennis world was on his shoulders.
He showed himself.
Yeah.
But look here. I mean, but there he was the over and above favourite.
Yeah.
Now he's not an underdog, but he's like. There's these other guys.
Yeah,
like,
no,
the fact
100%.
that I'm saying Alcaraz is going to play Rune in the final.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I don't know the last time I ever said there's not going to be a Grand Slam with Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal.
Yeah, I
in it.
know. True.
So, I think maybe that he can use that to his advantage, where people expect a bit less of him.
Yeah.
He's the villain. He can come into his role and really have a go. But look, who do you think he'd play in the final if you were going to?
Yeah, I don't know. Rude's been there before. Yeah.
Let's,
Rude or
let's,
Rune.
let's say Rune or Rude. Who would you say?
Rune.
All right.
Just for the 12-year-old kid that I used to watch on functional tennis.
All right. So that's the prediction. All right. Look, we'll wrap it up there,
Yeah.
Vinny.
Thanks for that, man. It was a good chat.
Thanks for
Good
coming
chat.
in.
Tennis chat's always good.
Yeah, make sure you check us out online, guys. btfu.com. Check out our socials as well, BTFU. And yeah, I think that's all we've got to today.
Yeah. No, awesome.
Hopefully, we'll be back next week to talk more. Maybe give you a prelude to the final.
There you go.
A bit of wrap up, but yeah. Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Peace.